So, what's up, y'all? Quovadis Gates, that's my name. Quovadis Gates, Gates. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how I set a goal to move from Chicago to Los Angeles, and I made the move. So the reason I'm even doing these videos is because I've realized that when you push past certain obstacles in your life, or when you've gone through certain things, and or when you've made certain achievements, it's people that are going through those things, or it's people that come from similar situations to yours. They look up to you for guidance or inspiration or advice. And at first I thought, I'm just living my life, doing my thing, trying to get this money. But I realized, I've even had that big job, and I hated it. And I realized what makes me feel most complete and what makes me feel as though I'm giving back to my people is giving back to my people. I feel as though my talent is my speaking ability, and I need to use that to give back to people. So I'm going to get on these videos and talk about the certain things that I've been able to overcome and or achieve in hopes to inspire, especially my little cousins that are back in Chicago, but any kid that's come from a similar situation to mine. I grew up in Chicago, Southside Chicago, Inglewood, and I won't hype the neighborhood because I don't promote violence, but the neighborhood I come from, I'm blessed for the people who came into my life when they did in order to steer me in certain situations, in certain areas, because a lot of the guys that grew up where I grew up at, they're not in position that I'm in now. And even though I'm not in the best position, I'm not in jail, I've never had a record. I've graduated Morehouse College, 4 years straight, went in, came out. And those are things that I'm fortunate about. So most of these videos would just be to give back to people. So, and I see I'm already at 2 minutes. I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time. I'll probably go to about 5 minutes. That's my warning. Trust me, I know how to talk. So, yeah, let me set a limit real quick. Alright, so get down to what the video is about. Alright, Chicago to LA. I left Chicago at like 17, 18. I'm not sure my exact age, but I left Chicago then. Went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. Did my 4 years. Worked for 6 months in management. Got this big job in management to be an executive at a company in Chicago where I managed 5 locations. And it was a pretty decent gig. I hated it though, but the money was real good. So the money kept me showing up, So moved back to Chicago. Once I get back, I realized that there was so many people who grew up with me that were doing similar things, or like their level of understanding was the same as it was when we were younger. The legal money was still thriving, and it was just not the place for me. I feel as though if you want to be a billionaire, get in a room full of billionaires and try to learn from them. And if you're the smartest person in the room, or not even the smartest, because I don't want to say that I'm smarter than anybody else, but I feel like if you're trying to go for something that no one around you is going for, then you have to change your surrounding. And this is not a product of running from my situation and nothing like that, because I'm still down with my family or whatever. And I'll still go to Chicago every now and then, but I realize in order to grow, I have to change my environment. So I grew when I left Chicago and went to Morehouse. And now that I'm out in LA, I'm growing. So how did it happen? A girl who wasn't my girlfriend at the time, we have a basic 5-year relationship, but we've broken up a few times. While we were on the breakup, she calls me one day and says, hey, I want to move to LA. And I'm like, okay, why are you telling me this? And she was like, because I thought about it, the only roommate that I've ever enjoyed rooming with was you. So I was like, what? You asking me to move to LA with you? And I'm like, this ain't a good time to be asking me to move to LA with you. Like, we're not even cool. So come to find out, it was the best time. And the reason I say that is because, of course, we're back together since, we're bonded together. We rekindled our relationship and everything. But it was the best time because it was time for a change in my life. So the way that I did it was from that day, we set a concrete goal that exact same night. 6 months from then, we'd move to LA. And I'm over 5 minutes, but I'm going to keep going. 6 months from then, we'd move to LA. What I did was, my initial position when I went to Chicago paid me a nice amount of money. So every month, I saved up little by little. And it was time for me to move 6 months from then. I feel like, and it was just that simple. Like, I set a goal. Once I set that goal, I set small monthly goals and small weekly goals and small daily goals in order to achieve the big dream of moving out to LA. I came out here with so many thousands of dollars in my pocket, and I made it happen. Like, and I'm telling you, don't think that I said thousands of dollars that it's like something that you can't do, because it's something that you can do. You can definitely make this move. When I got out here, all I really had to bank on was my paper, like the little money that we had saved. And we went to Airbnb.com and rented out a little 1 month place to stay, to rent. And it was fucking horrible. Like, it was roaches in there and all type of shit. And I'm not saying nothing bad about Airbnb, because they actually were a great partner with that whole position where they refunded us our money. And we lucked up by going on Craigslist and finding a guy who subleased his place for a month up until we found our actual apartment, which was a blessing in disguise, because we're in a better neighborhood now from the one that we were in at first. It's just the people with the Airbnb situation, they try to swindle us. Like, they show pictures of all the good stuff of the place, but they ain't show us the entire place, which I understand is business. But I mean, hey, you know, like, whatever. So that was like a little obstacle, had to jump over, and jumped over it, you know? So if you're out there, if you're thinking about making a move, if you're thinking about making a transition in your life, I told you about the situation with my current girlfriend and how I thought it wasn't the right time, but it was the right time. It was the right time. I was living a lifestyle that I hadn't planned to live. And I needed to make a drastic change. And moving from Chicago to LA was a drastic change. Literally came out here with, I think, like 2 or 3 suitcases full of my clothes. Everything I couldn't bring, I didn't bring. And making it work, making it happen. Now, full-time employee, got a nice spot. You know, pool right outside of my balcony. The weather's always the same. It's usually in the 70s or 80s. And I'm now in an environment with people who are fellow dreamers. You know, it's a lot of people who migrate down here because they want to make show business come true for them. Me, I'm not too much into show business. I'm more of an entrepreneur. But this was the place where I could be surrounded by like-minded individuals. That's the moral of this story. And I had to make that move. I couldn't be scared. I had to jump out on faith and rely on my talents and the things that I built and grew and matured to be during not only my time in college, but my time before college. I grew up in a rough neighborhood, so put me in any neighborhood, I feel like I'm going to survive. And I feel like you're the same way. You know, you grew up with the circumstances that you grew up with, and you know the things that you've had to overcome and obstacles you've had to go through. And I feel like put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, and you'll be amazed by how much of a champion you'll come out of that situation as. This situation has really taught me and showed me so many things about myself, and that I won't let myself down. And I feel as though if you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, you'll be surprised the person who will look back to you in that mirror. You won't let yourself down. I don't think you will. So go out, live your dreams, do the things that you plan to do. Set them goals, break them goals down monthly, weekly, daily, and let's make achievements. It's been almost 10 minutes, and I'm double time, overtime. Hey, I talk a lot. So if you don't like it, hit dislike. But if you like it, and share with somebody else who you know is capable of doing what they say that they want to do, or they dream they want to do. Make that decision now. Make that leap. Let's make it happen. Let's change our lives.